on as an unfavorable thing. They would sometimes look at a woman as being cursed because God had withholden from her the ability to conceive seed and to bear children. But Jesus said that a day is coming so horrible. There's a time that's on its way that's going to be so bad to where the general consensus is going to be, blessed are those who have never conceived, and blessed are the wombs that have never bare, and the paps or the breasts which have never nursed a baby. Right. As we look at this holistically, Mama, we see that there are some deeper issues in life to weep over than just the common misfortunes that happen to your children. There are some things that happen unto them. I know they touch your heart in a very special way, but these are things that must happen in order to help them mature and to develop into what they need to become. Sometimes these things are unpleasant. Sometimes these things are unexpected. Sometimes we feel as though these things are undeserved, but they're going to happen. And when they happen, Mama, you can't cry over everything that happens. Right. The Lord indicated here in our text, there are some occasions to cry. Then there are some occasions not to cry. We want to take this as a basis of encouragement unto you mothers this morning. Because there are many of you, even perhaps this hour, who have hearts that are heavy laden over some things that are happening with your children. You know within yourself that you've done the best that you could have for them. You know within yourself that you tried your best and you did what you knew was right to do upon the occasions with which you were dealing and the circumstances of life that you were handed when you were dealing with them. And so, Mama, we're going to encourage you this morning. Don't weep for me. First of all, when you know that you've taught me. Mama, when you know that you've taught me better. And you know as a result of you teaching me better that I indeed know better. Don't weep for me. In Proverbs chapter 22 and beginning at verse number 6. In Proverbs chapter 22 and beginning at verse number 6, wise man Solomon said that it is our duty to train up a child in the way that he should go. When he is old, he will not depart from it. Yes, Mama, you have a duty responsible to God to that child. Your duty is to train him up in the way that he should go. Not only do you have a part, but according to Proverbs chapter 19 and beginning at verse number 20, even that child has a part. The Bible says in Proverbs chapter 19 and verse number 20, hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in the latter end. Mama, when you know that you have taught them and sat them down and explained to them the right and the wrong way of life, when you know that you have given them instruction on how to do what's best for their life, like the arrows in the hand of a mighty archer, you have pointed them in the right direction and released them to the direction that they need to go and that you've taught them to go. When they decide to go another way and you know that you've instilled within them what they need in them, Mama, don't wait for them. They're traveling their own pathway. Not only are we looking at the fact, Mama, that you ought not weep for me when you've taught me, but Mama, don't weep for me when you know that you brought me where I needed to be. Mama, when you've had me in the right place at the right time, when you know that you didn't just send to know, Mama, don't weep for me, because you've done the best you can for me. When we look at Ephesians chapter 6 and verse number 4, the Apostle Paul actually gives the charge to the fathers that they have a responsibility to those children to bring them up. But see, sometimes for one reason or another, father is absent. Or if he's there, he's not that instrumental in bringing up the children in the way that God would have them to go. And when that's the case, Mama, the lot and the weight falls upon your shoulders. The command here from the Apostle Paul is, fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Many of you precious mothers have done that. You made sure they were in Sunday morning Bible class at the time they needed to be there. You've done all of your diligence to bring them to every youth function, to have them involved. No expense was too big. No journey was too far. No amount of time was too much time. You did everything that you could to bring them up in the fear and the admonition of the Lord. And the best thing you could have possibly done for that child was to give him back to the one who gave him to you in the first place. And that's the reason why you did that. You recognize the value. Now, since God has given them to me, the best thing that I can do for them is to give them back to him. We see that in the actions of Hannah. When you look at 1 Samuel chapter 1 and beginning at verse number 20, we see that in the actions of Hannah. And Hannah did that not because Samuel's daddy was not present, but Hannah did that because she recognized that God gave her the child, and she felt it was her duty to give him back to God. The Bible indicates in 1 Samuel chapter 1 and beginning at verse number 20, wherefore it came to pass when the time was come about after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, called his name Samuel, saying, because I have asked him of the Lord. And the man Elkanah, all of his house went up, offer unto the Lord the yearly sacrifice and his vow. But Hannah went not up, for she said unto her husband, I will not go up until the child be weaned. Then I will bring him, he may appear before the Lord, and there abide forever. That ought to be a goal of every mother's heart. Have their children abide with God forever. That ought to be something that's a main priority in your life, is to make sure that you do by that child what needs to be done, so that they can spend eternity with God. Hannah, the Bible says, that Hannah, her husband, verse 23, said unto her, do what seemeth thee good. He said, tarry, or literally stay here, until thou hast weaned him. Only the Lord established his word. So the woman of old gave her son suck until she weaned him. And the Bible says, and when she had weaned him, she took him with her, and 3 bullocks, 1 ephah of flour, and a bottle of wine, and brought him unto the house of the Lord in Shiloh. And the child was young. Hannah did not wait till that boy was almost grown to take him into the house of the Lord. Hannah did not wait until his roots had become hardened with his own weight before she brought him to the house of the Lord. Hannah took him as soon as she had finished weaning him.